Hey, my name is Simon and today I would like to sew with you this dress called Lilla. Lilla is an A-line dress with an asymmetrical button placket, and you can choose between those puff sleeves and a cap sleeve. Let's have a look at the versions. You can choose this one or this one, maybe this. I choose this one. So let's start sewing. Just have a quick view at the pattern pieces. You will need the back bodies cut one time on fold, the left and the right front bodies cut one time, the facing for the front bodies, left and right side cut one time, and mirrored cut the interfacing. I already pressed it on. The pockets cut 4 times, and also here for the pockets the interfacing. And here is the facing for the back bodies, cut one time on fold and cut one time on fold the interfacing for it. The pattern pieces for the type bell cut 2 times on fold, and for the bell loops just cut it 1 time normal. Now it depends on the version you would like to sew. If you want to have the long arm version with the puff sleeves, cut this sleeve 2 times, and you also need an elastic with 6 millimeters wide, and the length depends on your wrist. Or if you prefer the short arm version with the cap sleeve, just cut it 2 times. Additionally, you will need buttons, 10 buttons, and threads. First, we prepare the pattern pieces. We apply the interfacing to the facing, as you can see here, and also on the shoulders and at the pocket bags. The first step is to place the dart marking on top of each other so that the lines match, and pin it on the wrong side of the fabric. Mark the end of the dart with the pin. Stitch each dart starting from the edge of the fabric, back tagging and sewing to the tip in a curve. And knot the threads. And press the darts downwards. Neaten all the pattern pieces all around with the overlock or the serger. If your fabric doesn't fray, you can skip this step, and you can use piece of fabric to test if your settings from your overlock is right. Step 2 is to pin the pocket bags right side together to the marking of the front bodies and the back bodies. Here are the marking for the loop belts, and under it there are the pocket marking. Stitch the pocket seam with a straight stitch. Press the seam allowance forward the side seams. Lay the front bodies over the back bodies, right sides together, and pin them together at the shoulder seams. Stitch the shoulder seams with a straight stitch. And press the shoulder seam allowance open. Next step, place the facing at the shoulder seams on the right sides together and pin it, and then stitch the seam with a straight stitch. And press the seam allowance opened. Step 4. Pin the prepared facing to the neckline, right sides together. Making sure there's a 2 cm hem, and pin the facing 1 cm from the edge. Stitch the seam with a straight stitch, and at the hem 2 cm away from the edge. Trim the seam allowance across this edge diagonally. and snip into the seam allowance at the curve of the back bodies. And trim the seam allowance here as well. Press the seam allowance toward the facing. Then stitch the facing to the seam allowance close to the seam line. At the corner, try to get as close as possible. Now fold the facing inwards. First, trim the seam allowance here at the hem. Then fold the hem 2 times 1 centimeter and the seam allowance from the facing, and then turn it and form the edge. And give it all a good press. And then press the edge flat and pin the facing. Stitch the facing with a straight stitch. From the facing is 4 centimeter and minus 0.5 centimeters, 5 millimeters away, so it's 3.5 centimeter. I stitch the facing on top of the bodies. Now fold the bell loops piece in the middle of the long side, right sides together, and stitch it with a straight stitch. Press this seam allowance and turn the loop and press it again. And then cut the bell loops in the middle and your bell loops are ready. Lay the front bodies over the back bodies, right sides together, and pin them together at the side seams. And don't forget, the bell loops need to be placed here at the marking. Fold it in the middle and pin it in. Stitch the side seam, including the curve of the pocket's backs, with a straight stitch. Now stitch just one stitch over the seam from the pockets. And then turn and sew the rest of the seam. Snip into the seam allowance above and below the pocket bag. And press the seam allowance opened. Turn the fabric and press the pocket opening as well. Press the dress hem under 1 centimeter to the wrong side, and then again press it under another 1 centimeter and pin in place. And give it a good press. Now top stitch 7 millimeters from the edge. No matter which sleeves you choose, the first step is to sew 2 parallel rows of E-stitches along the sleeves heads, one around 7 millimeters and the other is about 1.3 millimeters along the sleeves head. Long stitch length, loose threads, tension, do not back tagging, and leaving long loose threads at the end and the beginning. Start with the E-stitches at the markings. And another row. Fold each sleeve lengthwise, right sides together, and pin the underarm seams. Here with a puff sleeve and as well for the cap sleeve. This is the underarm seams. Just pin it together. Stitch the sleeve side seams with a straight stitch. Now press the seam flat and opened. Under pressure. Okay. Press the sleeve hand under 2 centimeters to the wrong side, and then again another 2 centimeters. And for the cap sleeve version, also press the seam allowance opened and then press the sleeve hem under 5 millimeters to the wrong side, and then again another 5 millimeters, and give it a good press. Top stitch 3 millimeters from the edge with a straight stitch. Mark an opening for the elastic with 2 pins roughly 2 centimeters each side of the underarm seams, leaving the opening unstitched, and top stitch the rest of the hem 1.5 centimeters away from the edge. Check that the elastic has the ideal length, not too tight or too loose. Using a safety pin or a pull-in aid, and insert the elastic into the sleeve hem. Then close the elastic with a straight stitch. Stitch a few times forward and backwards. Then close the opening with a straight stitch. Gently pull on the threads from the E-stitches of the sleeve head. And the other side. And for the cap sleeve version, here's also just gently pull on the threads. With the bodies and the sleeves right side out, flip the body over the sleeve and bring them together, right sides, just for a better view. Here is the arm, that's the front, and the right side is out. And then pull over the bodies, that right side matching, and here are the underarm seams, and pin them together. And also the markings and the shoulder marking on the shoulder seams from the bodies. Pin them together. Pull the threads until the sleeve fits in the armhole of the bodies. And pin it. Pin, pin, pin. And now that the sleeve is pinned in, sew the seam with a straight stitch all around. Now check if the sleeves fit in perfectly. If the underarm seams matches, that's fine. Then remove the ease stitches and trim the seam allowance. And then neaten the edge with the overlock or the serger. Give it a good press and your sleeve is sewn in perfectly. Stitch vertical buttonholes on the right button stand. The markings indicate the top of the buttonholes, and each hole should be 3 mm longer than your buttons. Start with the first buttonhole here at the top. Now open the button with the seam ripper. And then mark through the buttonhole where the button should be sewn on. And the last step is to sew the tie belt. Place the two pattern pieces on top of each other, right side facing, and close one short seam with a straight stitch. Press the seam open. Fold the belt pieces in the middle at the long side, right sides together, and pin it. Stitch the long side and one short side with a straight stitch. If you want to, you can stitch diagonally here to the corner. And turn the tight belt right side facing out. and press the tie bell. Turn the seam allowance into the bell and then close the other side with a straight stitch. Congratulations! You've made your own dress Lilla. Just give it a press and it's ready to wear. If you liked this video, just give us a thumb up and subscribe to our channel for more sewing video instructions or little tips and tricks about sewing. So, see you next time. Bye!